gentlemen, ProPublica. Quickly, the facts. I spoke with Kim Barker. The facts are Kim Barker wrote the piece last November. She was sent unasked, but they showed up. She asked for 67 non-profit social welfare organizations. 31 showed up in the mail. In those 31 were 9 that had not been approved. In other words, it was privileged information, including Karl Rove's GPS Crossroads. ProPublica wrote a piece. They chose not to use privileged information in their final piece. They don't know why those documents were sent to them. They have names in Cincinnati, and they've been trying to contact those names for the last 3 days. No one's responding in Cincinnati. So I mentioned now that there were actually people, names in Cincinnati, that made choices to send out privileged information to the press. ProPublica writing a piece about social welfare organizations, 501c4s, as of November. That's 5 or 6 months ago. But now, Larry, we have in the Inspector General's report, that you reported on your show tonight, that June 29th, 2011, Lois Lerner, the director EO, was briefed on the inappropriate choice of Tea Party, Patriots, 9/12, anybody issuing a concern with government spending or how the country is being run. She knew this 2 years ago, Larry. 2 years, and she's in Washington. She's not in Cincinnati.
And she lied. I want to emphasize this. She lied before Congress last week. I want to make that very clear, because she said she only recently learned about these attacks and targets. And the timeline that you're talking about says wrong. She knew for a couple of years. And I just want to keep emphasizing this. The lying of the high command of the IRS is something that's never happened before in the history of that agency. And so, yeah, they're targeting right-wing groups, conservative groups. They're leaking the conservative applications, which is what you're saying regarding ProPublica. This agency will have to be cleaned out. Absolutely, from top to bottom, they will have to be cleaned out. And that's why, let alone run the tax system, how the hell are they supposed to run Obamacare, which we should get rid of anyway?
Larry, if I'm not mistaken, she wasn't talking to Congress last week. She was speaking at some conference call. So it's a little less serious. It wasn't under oath.
No, you're right. You're exactly right.
It will soon be under oath.
Yes, I think there's not much doubt of that. But one other incident that I'd like to bring up involves the National Organization for Marriage. This is a 501c4 that opposes same-sex marriage. And a couple of years ago, the Puffington Host got a hold of the National Organization for Marriage's donor list, which only the IRS and the National Organization for Marriage would have. They said they got it from the Human Rights Campaign, which is a pro-same-sex marriage 501c4, which in turn said it got it from a whistleblower. The National Organization of Marriage said it examined the markings on the document and was able to discern that it had markings that indicated that it was from the IRS. So apparently what happened here was somebody at the IRS who was sympathetic to same-sex marriage leaked this donor list.
Cincinnati office?
It presumably would be, because that's the office that handles the 501c4s. Leaked it to the Human Rights Campaign. The Human Rights Campaign hasn't said that they got it from the IRS. National Organization of Marriage has said that it looks that way based on their analysis of the document. But, again, so somebody at the IRS thinks that he's doing the Lord's work or the right thing by helping to smear the National Organization for Marriage.
If it's one person, and Larry, the story we're following doesn't look like one person. This is many hands.
Couldn't be one person. See, here's the oddity that I find. Okay, so you have these people leaking these documents out to left-wing organizations.
November 15th, 2012, 31 documents arrived in the mail.
They're not harming conservative organizations. I mean, we know they're conservative organizations. We already know that. What they're doing is damaging the Internal Revenue Service, because this stuff is now, these chickens are coming home to roost by various reporters, including James. So that's the oddest thing to me. What good does it do them to hand out? I mean, is it a surprise that Karl Rove's Crossroads is a conservative organization? Did I just learn something here? I mean, the whole world knows that. So I can't figure this out, except that you have must be liberals inside there. Maybe they're just trying to self-destruct. I don't know what the motive is.
I don't know what they were, how they thought they were helping their cause with the dump to ProPublica, but holding up the approval for Tea Party organizations. I mean, if an approval normally takes 6 or 8 months, and you hold it up and so that it takes 2 years, if the process begins in 2011, and that means it doesn't end until 2013. Now, these organizations still exist. They can operate without IRS approval, but if they go to donors and donors say, is your tax-exempt status approved, and they say no, it has a certain chilling effect on donations. So it's conceivable that this did Obama some political good.
No, there have been organizations who came forward and said they didn't try for the 501c4 because they'd heard that they were going to be harassed and asked for additional questions. So it has already had a chilling effect.
This woman in Philadelphia, absolutely, a great Breitbart article. She just gave up. So I agree with that these guys were able to stop some of these Tea Party-like groups so they wouldn't get into the election. But the fun part about this is I think this is going to cause such a ruckus and uproar. I mean, I think this is just the beginning, to tell you the truth, that in effect, it's going to remobilize and reawaken the whole Tea Party movement right in time for the 2014 elections. That the furor, not only against Obama and Obamacare, but the IRS. I mean, are there 2 institutions in America that are disliked more than A, Obamacare, and B, the IRS?
The media.
Larry,
I don't know. I think the IRS beats the media.
Larry Kudlow, CNBC's Kudlow Reports and Kudlow Radio, and James Taranto, best of the web, the Wall Street Journal. I'm John Batchelor.